Hello everyone, you read the title of the video, so here's the first tip. Do not overcommit. Which means, unless you have a good opening, a topple, a flinch, a stagger, use your weapon's quick attacks to poke the monster. In Switch X's case, that would be X mode for high mobility and quick poking damage. If you watched my playstyles video or advanced techniques video, you already know which moves I'm talking about. Power X mode and exhaust files will tie down even the most spastic monsters you come across. But where should you poke the monster to enable openings for proper damage? Poke it in the weak spots, of course, and tenderize it beforehand. The best weak spots for each monster type are legs for piscine wyverns and brood wyverns, front legs for fanged wyverns, arms and the head for fanged beasts, the legs for flying wyverns or the head while they're flying for an extended topple, the front limbs of pseudo wyverns, so tigrex and barioth, but the head for nagakuga, though breaking its wing blade will always topple it, of course, and the head for elder dragons. The next tip I want to give you is control the fight. Don't let the monster control the flow of the fight and follow it around the entire area all the time like a headless jaggy. If the monster runs across the arena, you prepare for it for once it comes back to you, instead of desperately trying to get to it, to hit it once only for the monster to already have started the next attack, maybe even one that will let it move across the whole area again. Let the monster come to you and respond to its attack by evading, blocking, countering, whatever your weapon can do for this specific attack, and punish the monster for coming at you as if it stood a chance. In case of Tigrex and Switch X right here, I evade its attack and punish it during its recovery with pokes until I topple or stagger it or break its front limb to get into sword mode for maximum DPS while I have the time, or I get into power X mode to get easier topples next time and then focus sword mode for DPS. But do not run from the monster. If you run from the monster, it is still controlling the fight and will spam attacks to catch up to you, making you waste precious time and stamina to evade it, but not being able to punish it again. Unless you want to actually lure it to a specific location, a trap or boulder or whatever. If you still struggle to keep up or stay close to the monster, you may want to consider evade extender or stamina enhancing skills or items, and identify what exactly are you missing. Are you missing health or defense to even stay alive? Are you running out of stamina or get hit too many times because you can't evade attacks? Are blights putting too much pressure onto you so you can't perform properly? Are you still running defender gear this high up in master rank? For the love of God, people, craft some equipment. Velkhana is a quick monster with decent recoveries and fast attacks and can be very difficult on your first tries. The fact that it causes ice blight, which increases your stamina usage, puts a lot of pressure on the hunter, so you should always bring null berries to regain your maximum mobility and stay close to Velkhana and use its pretty big openings on certain attacks. Its ice beams can be punished pretty damn good, and evading its tail step will reward you with quick poking damage to the head as well. Juggling around Velkhana's head to poke its eyes until it trips is the key to beating it, and you may think, well, it has a lot of bulldrome dung moves that you have to run away from. It actually doesn't, but you have to learn how to react to its moves to fully take advantage of them. And I know this is easier said than done, but this is the core concept of Monster Hunter, learning the monster's moves and how to react to them. Your high rank defender gear days are over, now you're working to become a real hunter. Another real test for your skill will be Rajang. Super quick, high damage, and you can't easily tenderize him. He will catch you and peel you like a banana if you aren't wearing a mantle. But there is a one quick tip to deal with a monkey's grab. You just feint your tenderize attack. You clutch claw onto it and immediately drop down again, and now that Rajang is stuck in his "no, I'm gonna soften up you" animation, you can go for the tenderize or wallbang. And as you learned before, the weak spots to poke Rajang are his arms and his head, which is not ideal since he likes to punch a lot, and sometimes his continuous beating literally doesn't have a startup animation, so you would want to stay next to him and not directly in front of him. When he's in his hardened state, inferior weapons to Switch X, the sword mode will simply bounce off, which is already enough time to catch a hook from Rajang in response, so Mind's Eye might be interesting for this fight specifically, but you should focus on keeping his arms tenderized. I will upload complete hunts soon and talk about how to deal with specific monsters in more detail, like Barioth, Velkhana, Rajang and Raging Brachydios, for example. Another tip, which you are hopefully already using, is use your surroundings and traps. Many areas have environmental traps like falling rocks, vine traps, rocks in which certain monsters can get stuck in, and you can always utilize your traps. At least in most cases, there are some monsters immune to certain traps, and elders are completely immune to all forms of traps. Keep in mind that an enraged monster will follow you almost anywhere, so if you are in an area which is disadvantageous to you, take control of the fight and lure the monster to a better location, an area with slopes for sliding attacks, ledges for jumping attacks to mount the monster, or the aforementioned environmental traps. Knowledge of the locale will always pay off. Diablos can get stuck in these rocks. Tigrex can get its jaw stuck in these icy walls. The crystallized floor in the Elder's Recess shatters and deals extra damage if you use an attack that hits the ground like Switch Axe's Heavy Slam. And for the last tip I can give you right now is utilizing your Slinger and the special ammo. Every monster will once in a while drop special Slinger ammo, which will flinch monsters or even enable stunning the monster when used in a Slinger burst. The Slinger burst is super powerful and can stop the monster dead in its tracks in an attack. When you had enough of Tigrex running around the area for the billionth time and it finally dropped some piercing pods, force it to stop with the burst and use the flinch for good pokes. You can also use sonic bombs to get the charging Diablos stuck for a good opening with the burst. Don't forget that the Slinger burst usually is much more powerful than just shooting the Slinger with your weapon sheath. Okay, because you guys are finally dropping your defender gear, you deserve one last tip. Give your Palico a paralyzing or sleep-inducing weapon. Your Palico will reliably put almost any monster, even elders, to sleep or paralyze it once per hunt. Even Fatalis is usually paralyzed by my cat once in a hunt for a huge opening on his head. The best paralyzing weapon is this one right here, and the best option for sleep is that one right there. As always, leave your comments, thoughts and constructive criticism in the comments, and happy hunting.